18th of April 2023. Hello everybody, Sergey Baklikov Live, St. Petersburg, Russia. Moskvich, the legendary Moskvich car factory dealership in St. Petersburg on Rustaveli streets. And here I have a good news for you, because special for you, special for more of trips that I'm making for you today, I bought this car. Ladies and gentlemen, dudes, dudettes, let me introduce you Moskvich, what means Moscovite, the residents of Moscow, Moskvich Model 3. Moskvich 3. This is one of the very first cars that Moskvich produced, assembled on their car factory for the last 22 years. The last car before that, Moskvich car, was released there on Moskvich car factory, which is, by the way, located in only 11 kilometers from Kremlin. You know, it was released in 2001. And then that territory, little by little, taken Renault, Russia. Renault, same as many other Western car brands, they convinced Russia that you guys don't need to care about anything. You don't need to care about your own cars. You don't need to project them all the time, okay? Because, I mean, we just will bringing you anything in unlimited amounts. But a year ago, if talk about Renault and others, they are just made the diversion towards Russian customers, and just in a one day they left. And this is how Moskvich returns again. The mayor of Moscow, Sergei Sobyanin, and the government of Moscow, they have purchased 100% of the stocks of Renault Russia company, and that was the beginning of the renaissance of Moskvich. Yes, this is the Chinese car. This is Jack Model S4. Yes, here I'm not gonna say that, well, this is the Russian car. No. But this is one of first 600 cars produced in the end of 2022, already after sanctions. Yes, Chinese car, but produced on the territory of Russian Moskvich car factory by Russian workers who saved their jobs and now gave the time for the engineers finally to start projecting the new model. And that will be a totally Russian car. Give it a few years. And in this video, I want to make the review of this car. This is the crossover. Not too big, not too small. The engine here is 1.5 liters. Let me show you. 1.5 turbo charged engine. 4 cylinders. I think I don't have to say that this is pretty economy car. The consumption is an average 6.6 liters on 100 kilometers. The size of the car, it's 4.4 meters. The height is 1.66. The clearance 170 millimeters. The basic wheels, it's 17 inches. The radius 17 inches. The appearance, I think it's pretty nice. The appearance is pretty nice. Well, this car, more or less, but looks like most of, you know, South Korean and budget European cars, I think. On the roof, here goes the railings. top window. The rear mirror, it's pretty nice, not too small. The trunk has 520 liters and a little bit over 1,000 liters if you will fold the rear seats, the back seats. Now let me show you the salon. Let's watch inside. Look at the doors. It's electric power windows with the cup holders. The buttons of window control, door locker, the panel. This is electric power steering, cruise control, airbag here and airbag there. The start-stop engine button, 10 inches multimedia screen with CarPlay, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto supports. The transmission is CVT, it's variator automatic transmission. Actually, now here goes only 3 variations of the cars of Moskvich 3: manual transmission, CVT transmission, and 3E electric, the electric engine with up to 410 kilometers of the run. There's NCA 67.5 kilowatts engine, if I'm not mistaken. USB, additional output. It used to be for the cigarettes, but now mostly used for more of USBs. Cup holders. The wheel. Armrest. What I really like about it, the quality of materials is, of course, not top, but it's pretty well. Rugs, or should I say carpets. It's pretty spacious inside. There's 2 additional USB outputs for 2.5 and 5 ampere. Armrest on the back seats with 2 cup holders. The consumption is 6.6 liters on 100 kilometers in average. Here goes railings. On all the models goes the railings for the additional trunk. Top window. All right. Back and forth or up and down. You see that? SOS button. It's the connection with the emergency through GLONASS. Let's listen to the sounds of the engine under the bonnet. or should I say the hood. Not sure what else I can tell you about this car. As you know, I'm not a big professional in the cars, so I think I told you the most basic information. You can ask your questions, more questions, in the comments. Now, what about the price? Well, if I would buy this car without the loan, it would be $23,000. I mean, equivalent in rubles. But for the reason I've purchased that and with a loan, and I've paid only like about nowadays that is $3,500. Well, the down payment was $3,500, and the loan for 5 years, where every month I have to pay roughly 420 bucks. Well, of course in rubles, but I'm telling you in dollars equivalents. So it's a brand new. It's one of the first 600 cars assembled and released on Moskvich factory in 2022. But in 2023, they plan to assemble already 50,000 cars. And the process is going. At the moment, available only 5 colors. The white, red, such a actually light blue, black, and also gray, which I don't see here. Whoa, look, the total run is only 10 kilometers. There we can see the pressure of the air in the wheels, and almost no gas. Gonna make now my first charge. I just made the first charge, 42 liters, driving. You see, I'm driving. I'm not riding the horse, despite of so many predictions that in a year we will riding the horses. So I'm driving, and this is the car, which is not produced in Russia, but you see it's assembled on a Russian car factory by Russian man. And I'm driving it 14 months after unprecedented sanctions and how to say, exodus of all the Western car brands. Well, I feel pretty comfortable here. You know, it's the class of like Renault Captur, Nissan Qashqai. It's pretty well, pretty good. Just a simple budget, nice economy car. It's interesting how the history now turns to be. Moskvich car factory was founded in 1927, 1929. And that's also curious that at first they used to assemble the cars from Ford. Then it was a branch of Gaz, the Soviet car brand, which has produced Volgas. And since 1947, they started to produce their own cars. Moskvich 400, 403, 407, 412, other ones. But then came the collapse of USSR, and absolutely weird 1990s when everything was in crisis, including the car industry. And that's when the Western brands started coming to Russia And talk about the Moskvich, that was Renault, which is first came back in 1998 and taken a part of the territory of Moskvich, because Moskvich was not producing as much as it used before, okay? And little by little taking it all. In 2001, Moskvich released their last car, I mean as Moskvich, okay? Came Renault on that territory, and eventually like purchased 100% of the stocks of Moskvich, and so the car factory started to be called Renault Russia. The thing is, all the Western brands back in the days, they convinced Russia that, hey guys, you don't need to produce the new cars. Why you need projecting the new cars, like really like thinking about it? Come on. So we will bringing you everything, all the new technologies, all the new models, we will bringing it to you, okay? So all the engines, all the parts, and that's it, everything, okay? So you will make money just assembling it, and from the taxes, I mean the transportation tax for the parts and all the stuff. And I can say that back in those days, it actually was kind of convincing, I mean comfortable for Russia too. It's a fact back in those days. But little by little, everybody just get used to work like that. Okay, so we just assemble it here and that's it. I mean, everything works. Why changing anything? But now, finally, Russia understands why was need to develop its own car industry, because now you see, it's not a question if you can buy it or not. The question is if you can produce it or not, because now Russia, well, can buying it, but you know, they are not selling it. Okay, and so 2001 was the year when they released the last car on Moskvich as a Moskvich, okay? Then it turned to be Renault Russia and released like all the Renault cars. And now, more than 20 years after, the history returns. And when Renault left, and you know, they actually left the way that at first remotely they are turned off, you know, their servers, then just stop bringing all the cars, and that's it. That was absolute shock for the workers, because the guys already were, I saw the interviews, okay, they already were, well, they already were looking for another job, okay, and they were joking that, well, they will demolish now the factory and will construct an elite residential complex called Moskvich. And yes, it would be really elite because it's only 11 kilometers from Moscow Kremlin, as I told you before, okay? But here, the governments of Moscow and the governments of Russia taking a very interesting emergency decision and finding the solution. They are buying 100% of stocks from Renault Russia, and that's it. And Sergei Sobyanin, the mayor of Moscow, he announced that this is the renaissance of Moskvich. He announced that now they have found the eastern, not western anymore, but eastern partner. This is Jack as the model S4, and that now they will assemble the eastern car. And this is the first stage of the renaissance of Moskvich, because it's gonna take several years before the engineers of Moskvich, after 20 years of not being in business, will project and develop the new contemporary model, which will respond to nowadays technical requirements and the requirements of the customers, okay? But this is now something what helped to save the workers, which is the human resource, which is the main thing in the factory. Because okay, you can buy the conveyor, all the equipment, all the staff, all the technical devices, but the specialists, that's what's important. And so now it is saved the jobs for the workers of Moskvich who worked there, many of them for the whole of their life. They continue working there, they continue to getting the salary and all the stuff, and it's working. And the dealership continue working, and people in Russia continue buying the car and driving, not riding the horses, okay? So, and now this is something what's also bought the time for Moskvich and for their engineers to work on the creation of their new model more than 20 years after, okay? And this is what I like. And also I kind of trust to Sergei Sobyanin, the mayor of Moscow, because look at Moscow, what he did with Moscow, what Lushkov, the previous mayor of Moscow, was doing, and what Sobyanin did to Moscow for the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years. That's like day and night. It's unbelievable. So that's why I don't think that what Sobyanin said is just it's just like for nothing. No, it's not just for a beautiful word or something. I really think he meant it. And this is now actually already existential for Russia, because now finally they realize that, as I told you, it's not the question if you can buy it or not anymore. It's the question if you can produce it. And so now I like it that they say that this car, even this car, now it's like 95% Chinese car with like almost nothing Russian here. But then it will be 70, then 50, then 40, and then they will start producing their own Moskvich models. The engineers are already working on it, but it will take several years before they will release the first car. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I believe it's gonna happen. And I'm not saying this is Russian car. This is not the Russian car. So you don't hurry up with comments like saying, hey, but this is not Russian car. So now we will go through these stages. South Korea, China was going through 10, 15 years ago. You remember how everything was laughing at the first cars of, you know, Hyundai, Chery, Kia. So are you still laughing? Are you still laughing? And so that's what I like about this idea. So here is two biggest things about me purchasing this car. The first one, it's absolutely practical just for my channel, just to make more of trips and make them deeper. Because recently, if you remember, I mostly was just flying to the big cities or like middle-sized towns on the plane. And this is, in fact, the cheapest. It's the cheapest and easiest scheme. You go to the airports, you sit down into the airplane, come into the airports of another city, go to the city center, you know, exploring it all there, then returning to the airports and back home, okay? But, you know, to go to deeper places, it's better to have a car. Even here in Leningrad region, in Karelia, which is relatively close, I mean, if you will go there by car, which you will rent, or a taxi, it's going to be even more expensive, you know, than to go to another town by the airplane, okay? So for the last 3 years, I've paid a lot of money for car rentals. You remember, I bring you already 75 cities and towns around Russia. I was renting the cars, I was renting the car sharings, the cars from car sharing, from the regular car rental. I was buying the tickets for the train, I was buying the tickets for the airplanes, and actually I was spending a lot of money, just like forever, okay? I was giving away to the airline companies, to Russian railways, to the rental companies, car sharing. So, and I was pretty limited in how deep I can go. Now, with this car, I can go deep. And this is all for you, not for me, because here in the center of St. Petersburg, I freaking no need the car. It's better to just walk. It's better to use the electric scooter than to drive this car in order to look for the parking in the center, paid parking, by the way. So it's a whole pain in the ass, but it's absolutely justified in terms of the road trips. Okay, so this is the reason number one: the optimization of the expenses for the road trips and the possibility of making them deeper to go where airplanes and even trains can go. Okay, this is the first thing. So this is actually for my members, for you guys. And the second thing is that I just want to be a part of the history of the renaissance of the legendary Russian car factory Moskvich. I want to participate in this story. Okay, I want to participate in this story. And actually, I already getting into the story. I'm one of the very first owners of Moskvich 3. Yes, the Chinese car, but which is produced here on Russian lands, on a Russian car factory by Russian workers. That's it, dudes. And now a lot of new videos are waiting for you. I hope you really enjoyed it and have found it as a great news. Comment, like, subscribe. If you have any additional questions, I'm ready to listen.